The purpose of my videos, vlogs, is not just to give you something already cut and cooked and to be eaten. I love to contradict myself. So you can find 5 videos in which in 3 I've said one thing and 2 I've said the other thing. You will find a lot of contradictory things happening in life. For example, people will tell you you should buy the dips, and they will also tell you never catch a falling knife. Now you do not know which one to follow, so sometimes you say, okay, I will not catch a falling knife, and sometimes you say, oh, this is great, let me buy the dips. So DHFL, if you had bought the dips, it would have been like catching a falling knife. But in case of Sun Pharma, buying the dips would have made a lot of sense for you. So when should you listen to which part of the advice is very difficult. For example, the most misused statement of Warren Buffett is to say, do not diversify. So everybody comes and says, I run a concentrated portfolio. But Samir Arora comes and says, I don't need to run a concentrated portfolio. I can run it. I can run a diversified portfolio and still give good returns, right? So I'm not getting into the numbers, but yes, it has happened. Also, concentrated portfolio is very difficult to create. You will end up buying a lot of stock and then keep eliminating things. That will also happen. Then, therefore, the portfolio will become concentrated, but you never intended it to be. For example, even if you take Rakesh Jhunjhunwala, and assuming his net worth is 20,000 crores as people allege, 35% of that is Titan, right? That is huge concentration, if you ask me, because very few fund managers, or rather very few financial planners, will allow you to have 35% in one stock. But that has happened. But Rakesh never comes and says, I run a concentrated portfolio. It has become concentrated because some companies have done extremely well, and you had the capacity to hold on without getting worried or without fearing. You held on to the position, right? So that's important. Once you can do that, yes, your portfolio will get concentrated. But to say you should not have a concentrated portfolio, well, it works, it doesn't work. For some people, it works. So let me read out something from the reformed broker Josh Brown's website. It's an old one, where he says the following: always seek out different opinions and challenging your beliefs. Okay, that's part 1. And part 2 says, except when you know that you're right, then the other bullshit just becomes a distraction. So it's so beautiful. Like, for example, if you were a shareholder of Wipro since 1970 or 1980, you should have had tremendous amount of guts to hold on to it for it to become 700 crores, because all your other portfolio put together may have been only 50 lakhs. So is this a concentration risk? Of course it's a concentration risk. Could you have done it? You could have done it only if you were not looking at your portfolio on a daily basis and you didn't know what was happening. Somebody came, Mr. Azim Premji came, gave you some shares which you put in the attic and you didn't know what was happening. And the checks were coming, you were depositing the checks, you were having a good time, good payouts, you were enjoying it, but you never knew what that share was worth. Therefore, your portfolio grew, right? That's what would have happened. Now, technical analysis and charts only tell you what has already happened in the past. So, for dealing with, say, tech companies, you have to be more worried about what is going to happen in the future. Now, how do you handle that? Do you use technical analysis? Do you not use technical analysis? Don't expect answers from me. My job is to ask the questions. Like I said, I have said this in the past, I am more like Plato. There is a lot of questions that I am going to ask you. There are a lot of contradictions that I will do. But you have to find your answers. I am not Lord Krishna trying to give you the answers. Now, don't come to me as Arjun asking for the answers. That's not my job. I am more like Yoga Vashish, that I am also going to ask you questions. You are also going to ask me questions. And either we find an answer for ourselves or you find an answer for yourself. I am happy with the answers that I have found. It is for you to find answers. You please do it. Then it says, never run with the herd. It's much better to be all alone on open ground, running in the wrong direction and wholly conspicuous to predators. Both work, right? So if you are a zebra it makes sense to be on the side of the pack. 50,000 zebras going at a time. You're much better off being at the side. You'll get the juiciest grass. But at the edge is where you will get a line attack also. So the trade-off is always between getting less juicy grass or grass which has already been trampled upon by so many other zebras, but you can rest assured that the lion will never be able to attack you because you got a full defense force, right? So what do you want? Do you want juicy grass? Then you could either have a lion paw scratching you, or you would have become a meal of a lion. So the call is yours. The zebra has to decide whether he wants juicy grass or I'll worry about a lion attack, right? One thing which I have benefited by, and I can tell you, is take your losses quickly. I have taken my losses quickly and I have never had a regret doing that. However, when you're an investor, sometimes you have to hold on for much longer. So if in a trading position, I may have a 5 or 10% stop loss, but in the investing position, I may have a 25% stop loss. So that is something for you to decide. Amateurs trade in the morning, professionals trade in the afternoon. You don't know. So anybody who is dealing with markets has to decide how much of market will you want to influence you and how much you want to be willing to ignore the media, right? So sometimes you listen to the media, sometimes you don't listen to the media. You will also get advice from people saying be tactical, and be tactical means you have to time the market. And you will also hear that you cannot time the market. I agree with both. Sometimes you try timing the market, sometimes you don't. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work. Don't say timing the market never works. It works in certain industries when you're doing top down. You know this industry, there is a problem, there are only 2 players and those guys will not ever lose money. But the third player could also be making money. So best is, for example, in the telecom industry, I own Reliance, Bharti and Vodafone, because you know that the gains will happen for all three. Vodafone gain will happen simply because it is at the nadir, but you also know that a lot of people are leaving Vodafone Idea and migrating to Bharti or Reliance. So it's very contradictory information that you will keep receiving. So best in such cases is to own the bunch, right? Similarly, PSU banking and private sector banking. You do not know which bank will do well at any point in time. Next 5 years, will IndusInd Bank do better than HDFC Bank? I don't know. So best is to own an ETF, which is a private sector bank ETF and a public sector bank ETF. When you own an ETF, you own a little bit of everything. So even if your assessment is wrong, you wouldn't suffer too much. So best is to buy some IndusInd Bank, HDFC Bank and buy a private sector bank ETF. This way you participate more. But if the private sector bank ETF has got 40% of HDFC Bank, then the purpose is not being served. Then the best is to buy just the ETF, believing that 40% in HDFC is good. So therefore, I don't need to own any direct HDFC Bank, right? Don't try to fight the Fed. The RBI can do contradictory things for a very long time. So don't fight the Fed except when the Fed is wrong. So if the Fed is wrong and the market is reacting to that, don't try spitting against the wind. So again, your choice. No one's ever made a loss taking a profit is something which you hear, but somebody will also tell you let your profits run long. This I agree both, because when I bought Infosys, I didn't have any conviction in Infosys. I didn't know what they were doing. So when the prices doubled within about 45-50 days of my buying, I sold out. However, in case of Hero Honda, I held it for about 25 years and then sold. And in case of HDFC Bank and HDFC Limited, I'm still holding. Coromandel International, I've now been holding it for 36 years and it is a 230 bagger, right? So sometimes this works, sometimes that works. Sometimes you buy a share and immediately book the loss. So people ask me, how come you don't make losses? You only talk about your profits. It's because I book my losses very quickly. So I don't have big losses. So I think I've said about this in some other videos, I bought GMR Infra at 71, which I thought was not a bad price. But luckily for me, I spoke to my broker and he said, "Are you mad?" And I sold out at 69 within a day or two, right? So after that, I know it came down to 9 and now it is languishing around 25. So yes, when you take your losses very quickly, you don't have to talk about your losses because it's not too much. I would never run a loss. I would never wait for a share of 70 rupees to come down to 9 rupees unless I'm experimenting, like DHFL. That was an experiment. It failed. Then I sold, right? So these kind of things you have to be alert. Buy the rumor, sell the news, again makes no sense because you don't know which is a rumor and when there is news, and when the news comes, whether it is real, right? Whether it is still a fake news. Look for cheap stocks and cheap valuation, again very difficult, but you will also hear somebody saying, but the cheap stock may get cheaper. So what do, right? If you buy Vodafone today at 12 rupees and it comes down to 7 rupees or 8 rupees, what will you do? Because the 12 rupee share looked cheap, but at 8 looks even cheaper. Yes Bank looked very cheap at 18, but today it's available at 15. So what do? Has it got cheaper? Yes. Will it go down to 12, the previous issue price? I have no clue, but there is nothing which in the law which says it cannot go below its issue price. So why go to 12? It can even go to 10. You never know, right? And then they'll tell you that you have to have your own equity portfolio and you should have mutual funds, and you don't get emotional. If you don't get emotional, you cannot do well in equities. I think it's as simple as that. You have to have your logic, you have to have everything in place, but you will get emotional. And once you get emotional, you will make emotional decisions. Right or wrong doesn't matter, but yes, it will happen. Suppose the person who got shares from Azim Premji of Wipro says, no, Premji Saab ne khud diya, I will not sell these shares. That's fine. It's an emotional decision, maybe a stupid decision, but it has worked for him. Right? So don't go and tell him that emotion doesn't work. It worked for him. Real estate worked for Mr. Niranjan Hiranandani, the Rahejas, the Hiran, all those big builders, right? So don't say what worked for you, what worked for others. Many asset classes work for many people. For some people, buying the dip works. For some people, when they buy the dips, it's like catching a knife. So all these things happen. Be ready for it. Thank you.